Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of Randomania 1. Welcome to tonight's new player showcase. And this is going to be a fun seed. It looks like these are going to be some rather fun flags. Tonight with me, I've got Ulysses on main commentary, and Will Cleosis providing some additional announcements and updates.
That's right, Shadow. This is Rom here. I'm looking forward to tonight. Just my quick thoughts really quickly. It looks like it's going to be a bruising seed. Why do I say bruising? Black and blue all over. We've got black mages and black belts. I'm interested to see where that goes. But for now, some might call this a veteran move. I'm going to throw it over to Will Cleosis.
Good evening, everybody. Randomania, Minochi85 taking care of the restream tonight. Two graduates. Very, very quickly, Shadow Walker 227 and Ulysses. Jumping into the booth to do the broadcast for where they used to be playing. New names had just popped up somewhat recently. They've been doing fantastic. They sort of graduated here. They wanted to help out with the broadcast, and here they are. I'm just here to support, essentially. 8 players in this match. Off screen, we've got Soul Taker, Wappy, MBI's in this, Leggy Starscream, a Tiny Fairy's the first time. Lyra might be here. We're not sure quite yet. But on screen, we've got 4 great players. Tarnin, probably the last time we're going to see him. And a new player showcase, Shadow Walker. I think he's going to join you and Ulysses up in the, maybe working with us a little bit, but moving on to maybe some more weekly action.
Yeah, we were talking about this as a community after the bonus stream, which Tarnin and Spider MBI both participated in. And Tarnin had a very, very strong showing. 4 White Mage seeds are not easy. And coming 3 minutes in after the tournament champion, Edgeworth, very, very impressive.
This is a mix of flag set tonight. Earth Cave incentivized. It's the Chest of the Vampire, the Volcano, which is the Red Dragon Chest, the Sea Shrine, which is the Mermaid's Floor, and the Sky Palace. This flag set was designed by all the players. We took a survey out. It's based upon the tournament, Ulysses, and it's we're just going to have some fun. We do have a required war mech as well.
Yeah, I'm always looking forward to a required war mech. It really changes the pace of things. Usually Tiamat 1, it's a slight barrier, but having war mech, a big speed bump in front of another speed bump, you get twice as much air. So I'm really looking forward to what our runners are going to do to plan for that.
Indeed. A couple other surprises that we have in store for our new players. Item magic has been shuffled. That power bonk will no longer cast Saber. The heal helm will no longer be the heal helm. That could be the lamp helm, or the dark helm, or the coveted fade helm.
Here we are about to kick off. Our runners should be starting shortly, and then we can enter Corneria and see what magic is about to await us.
There they go. Gonna give us our first look at level 1 magic shortly. Oh, but not before talking to the dancer in Corneria. The Elastoid showing some love.
Just gotta check in with her, make sure she's doing all right. Ice 2 and Ice 3, I believe, in Black Magic Shop. Is that what you saw, Shadow?
Yeah, Ice 2, Ice 3 available for Black Magic. White Magic had Harm available to White Mage. Harm 4 available to White Mage. And the Wall Spell available. Not the most versatile of White Magics, but certainly could be handy later.
Yeah, Wall, if you only have 1 or 0 ribbons, Wall Spell makes that Temple of Fiends Revisited run a little bit more feasible. And Ice 3, that should set you straight for about the first 20 or 30 minutes of the run.
Yeah, Ice 3 is the second strongest black magic spell in the game just after Nuke. It's going to do 80 to 320 damage. What did he wipe to?
Looks like the bones are deciding to make some skeletons of their own. Toxic. Slain Toxic. It looks like Elastoid got a heaping dose of that. Maybe Girl Drink Drunk strategy of taking some early levels here is going to pay off before that dive into Temple of Fiends. It looks like SVJ hit something nasty there too. Already off to a really strong bruising seed here for the Black Belt and Black Mage Forced classes here, Shadow.
Yeah, Toxic is not the kind of spell you want to see early. On the one hand, it's good to get it out of the way. On the other hand, it's going to be real rough getting through this Temple of Fiends. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some of our runners, after seeing the Toxic, jump straight for Garland and ignore the chests on the side.
Yeah, and I think, it's a common mistake that new players make. You see those bones and you have to know that they're toxic.
Yeah.
Pro rings, equipable by any light warrior at any time, acts as hand armor, and they're almost always for sale unless you shuffle things up and go quite crazy. Does protect against the toxic, but you gotta this early in the game, it's not gonna help our players from that spell or that skill actually.
Speaking of shuffled, we have our main quest NPCs shuffled, so our NPCs like the King and Sarah and the robot are going to give us shuffled items, but fetch quest turn-ins are not shuffled this time around, so Matoya will always turn in the herb for finding that crystal.
Elastoid first to Garland here. Let's see if Garland's going to do anything spectacular. The King's best knight goes down to an absolute blizzard, and just saying hello to the bats, the real zookeeper. The Royals, that look like, have a Quad X gauntlet. That's coming right out of the treasury, and the canoe from the princess.
Yeah, random. The item magic has been shuffled. That was originally the power gauntlet. The power gauntlet has been reassigned the Quad X spell.
That is going to do a lot of great work in this early game. Quad X is a guaranteed kill on anything that does not resist death magic that has 300 or fewer hit points. I would expect that we're going to see our runners use that to great use to clear early bosses and early enemies.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed blessing. I'm a huge fan of the power bonk. I think if you grab that, just about any endgame sword becomes viable. But the Quad X gauntlet, I wouldn't turn my nose up at it. And it looks like SVJ is going to be the last to clear out the Royals' armory here. And at this point, people can go over and go knock on the dwarves' door, I believe, since open progression is on.
That's right, the open progression is going to allow us to walk over to the dwarf cave, and given that we also have that canoe, we'll be able to head south and check out Elfland and see what's available for us in level 3 and 4 magic. Expect we'll see a quick magic check, and then our runners will probably route their way over to Crescent Lake, see what the sages have, and then probably also up to Provoca to find out what the pirates have in store for us.
Now we've got a split along the screen as well here, Shadow. It looks like both Girl Drink Drunk and SVJ have taken a white mage, whereas Tarnin and Elastoid have gone with red mages to try and maybe cash in on that early, black magic availability. What's your preference here, mage-wise, if you can only bring two?
Well, given that the fighter's pretty much a guarantee in seeds like this, where you're going to be opening up a lot of chests and finding good night gear, that one slot open, I think red and white are probably the two really good choices here. Both are going to provide you access to white magic, but the red mage also has a little bit of offense traded for being a little bit pickier about which white magic spells he can learn. I like the early offense going for the red mage, but certainly white mage is very safe for the late game. So we'll see how that pans out for our runners. I would probably go red mage.
I'd like to give a big shout out to our trackers that are helping us out tonight. We have Neon Gray and Mr. Versetti on tracking. They're doing fantastic for us and be keeping us company the whole night.
That's right. Neon Gray played with you guys. Neon Gray is one of the new players as well, jumping in to help us out here in the booth and on the crew. So thank you very much, Mr. Versetti. We can always count on him.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting to see all the interest that a lot of the new players have, not just in racing, but also helping out the community. We've seen a lot of these names, both on commentary and tracking, trying to help new players out, jumping in on things like challenge seeds. So very active new users.
Looks like Elastoid managed to scramble his way all the way over to Elfland. It looks like Lit 3 at level 4. Nuke, more importantly. Holy cow, bearing there. And I think I just saw some Cure Magic over at White level 4. Looks like he's going to give us another opportunity to see. Heal 3. Oh, that's not bad.
Heal 3 is a good spell. It's a little sad that it shares the same level as Nuke for that red mage. Nuke available at 1300. That's great. You're going to be able to pick that up for both your red mage and your black mage. I don't think the white mage is going to be sad. Having Heal 3 available at level 4 is a really good healing option. Going to give you a lot of potential to heal back up after tough fights.
Yeah, level 3 black just had Lit 2, and I missed what was in level 3 white, so maybe Tarnin will do us a favor here. And I know the dwarves had a bunch of money, so it's enabling everybody here to really make a run on the spells here. Life, but it is White Mage locked. I believe it's in the Harm 2 slot, if I'm not mistaken there, Shadow.
I believe the Harm 2 slot is the second slot spell. I can't recall right offhand what the fourth slot is, but you are right that that is blocked to White and White Wizard.
Yeah, the fourth slot in level 4 White Magic available in Elfland is locked to the Red Wizard. So class promotion would be for the fourth slot. That second slot's never going to happen.
Some silver armor available, it looks like, in the armor shop. That's good news for anybody who brought along a red mage. I know early on, just throwing some silver armor on that red mage can really increase the tankability of your party, especially if you have to do something like a volcano or an ice cave dive, which it looks like Elastoid is heading towards. I'm wondering if Elastoid is thinking that the flag sets are different here because, oh no, we do have volcano incentivized. So this, oh yeah, this checks out.
Yeah, Volcano's incentivized, but he's definitely going to stop by Crescent Lake first. Got to check out what that key item is. You never know, maybe it could be a floater, and we're going to have some very quick transportation available to us.
Looks like the rivers aren't too bad. We haven't seen the Caribs do anything too nasty. And boy, Elastoid's making fantastic time at Crescent Lake in under 10 minutes. That's wicked fast. Are these new players?
Especially considering we saw some early wipes from the Toxic Bones. Brack and Quake available at level 6 Black Magic. That can let you get some cheeky kills on some fiends. I'm all for that.
Speaking of cheeky, it looks like these sages aren't exactly where they should be here, Shadow. Is there problem? Whoa, Elastoid has no problem sniffing out that loot, though.
Oh, they're just doing yoga in the park. You know, you gotta exercise. It's good for the body.
Picking up the loot that's required in order to, remove that plate in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, but picking it up as a key item this early, you're wishing for something a little bit more active, maybe.
Like we talked about earlier, guys, we've got 5 players off stream. 4 of the 5 are right exactly where Girl Drink Drunk is and right where Elastoid is. So it looks like 8 of our 9 players are hovering right around Crescent Lake right now.
Yeah, all of the new... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All the new players, I mean, it's a real Alice Cooper seed. School's out, everyone's wanting to kick down the doors, join the elite runners. I think it's going to be a real packed tournament once that announcement comes around, which I think we got a little tease about in the Discord today. Boy, Tarnin sniffing out that loot immediately, too. Is this random?
We've actually got a little bit more information on that. An announcement will be made tomorrow by one of our administrators, Ikbin Maya. Little birdie told me something around the early October 2nd, but don't quote me on that. But tomorrow in our Discord, there'll be an announcement about a league and specifics and things about that, dates, times, leg sets, things like that. Tomorrow is what my understanding over on our Final Fantasy Randomizer Discord. If you haven't joined it yet, join it.
And Elastoid here is making what I would say is the right play, is going up to Provoca and checking out what the Pirates have, checking out what the level 2 Magic has in store for us. Going to have a lot of extra resources available and perhaps a very powerful key item.
Now, Shadow, I think you and I have slightly different opinions on this, but I see all these black belts alive right now, and I'm thinking at this point I would have tried to move that black belt up to the top and maybe seeing if they can tank a couple of hits for the greater experience good.
Yeah, having a black belt and having bosses only at 200%, I'd be working on getting that black belt damned in a hurry. It's going to take a little bit too long, in my opinion, to get that black belt grinded up to the levels that he's going to need to really rock the damage that black belts are capable of in the end game. I would be looking to Dan him, funnel the experience into the fighter and one or both of the mages, depending upon what we see for eventual item magic and spells, and really look to skyrocket toward those later game levels.
Looks like Elastoid picks up Stop and then picks up Warp, probably to avoid fighting the Warp boss a little bit later in this run. But it's really nice. You see Warp, that'll make Ordeals easier and Ice Cave easier, but we might not even see those locations since they're not incentivized.
Stop being a time magic spell is also great for AoE crowd control. If you find some enemies that have some really nasty skills or spells, you can quickly put that stop spell to work to kind of minimize their options to fight you in battle. And it looks like Elastoid decided to give the Pirates a free round. Come at me, bro.
Yeah, quite sporting of him, I would say. Pirates don't normally have honor, and if you, show them what show them what they really look like, it's a strong play, I'd say, confidence-wise.
Ooh, and the Pirates hold the floater. So, incoming Jet Seed. Well, maybe. Jury's still out on that. And the bottle is also available for sale in Provoca. 3,800 is not a bad price for a key item.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Pirates didn't scoop it up at that price.
Now, because we have fetch quests not shuffled, we know that bottle is going to turn into the Oxyale. That's going to open up another incentive location. Turning in that ferry to get the Oxyale, then you could go to Waterfall and Sea Shrine at the same time. So I expect we'll see them pick that up before too long.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Girl Drink Drunk in the volcano right now has not gone up to visit Vicky. So she is making a pretty bold move, I think, here. Maybe betting that no one's going to check the armory first. So if she finds something in there, it'll help put her in the lead early.
Yeah, this is the kind of play that if something big landed in the armory, some ribbons, a Mazmune, powerful spell on item magic, this really could accelerate Girl Drink Drunk's early game. But I think the play is generally to get the faster key item. A lot of people talk about routing decisions. And if I'm looking at the opportunity of going up to Provoca, which is probably going to take me about 2 to 2.5 minutes from Crescent Lake in the early game, versus digging out Volcano and getting down to that red D chest to find the key item there, that's probably going to take me about 10 to 12 minutes, I would think, in the early game. I will generally choose the option that will cost me the least amount of time, because if it turns out to be something important, like in this case it was the floater, I have essentially saved that 10 to 12 minutes over other runners that decide to dig that volcano.
You know what I'm interested in here? Romulus, Elastoid went directly with the airship. He's going to clean out the Titan's tunnel as well. Picked up the rod from Sarda. Given that the vampire chest in the Earth Cave is incentivized, you're in the area right here, Rom. Do you consider maybe even just going in and knocking out the Earth Cave at this point, or maybe even at least going in to that incentivized chest? It could be the chime, it could be a slap, it could be a lot of different things.
Yeah, you've got early nuke available, you've got warp to get out of there quick. I think it was at level 2. I think that'd be an excellent play. I don't know if Elastoid is quite high enough to cast nuke yet, but you can just make a mad dash up there even if you have one charge of it. And I think there's a gentleman guarding whatever that chest is. I haven't seen them recently. But yeah, I think that'd be a strong play. I wouldn't even bother checking any chests along the way, because why would you dive Earth? What's ever been in there?
Yeah, I think that is a good play, but I think I would disagree with the two of you. I think in this case, I would be looking to do as Elastoid is doing. Purchase that bottle, go to the ferry, turn that in, get your Oxyale, and make a play for the mermaids. There are a whole lot of chests over there and a guaranteed key item. Get some experience, perhaps. We've got Nuke, we've got Ice 3, we've got Lit 2. I think there are some fights you can definitely take in the Sea Shrine this early. And I would be looking to build some experience points. Probably after Mermaids, make a play for the Waterfall, and then at that point you probably have the XP you need to take out Kraken.
Yeah, I think they're both valid plays. I think the idea with Earth would just be routing-wise. You go up and then you visit Melmond, and just you never have to come back to this part of the continent again. But I understand getting some levels, coming back, and then just being able to slam out Earth Cave without a thought, really.
Got a request from Falconic joining us in the chat for a quick recap. At this point in time, the King of Canaria gave us the Quad X Gauntlet. That was the Power Gauntlet, got moved with the Quad X spell. Princess Sarah, after she was rescued, gave us the Canoe. The Circle of Sages at Crescent Lake gave the loot. Bicky, after we took out his pirates, gave the floater. The bottle's also for sale in Provoca. They're very cheap, around 3,000 gold. Sarda held the rod. And we've got some early spells here. Nuke at level 3, guys, and Ice 3 was pretty early as well. So some good offensive magic attacks.
Yeah, I didn't catch the fact that Sarda gave the rod, and I think that might change my answer a little bit. Given that you could do Earth in one go, that might be the place to get some early levels. It is definitely very safe, considering the spells we have available. So I could definitely see doing Earth while you're here.
It looks like Elastoid's been drinking out of your cup, Shadow, and he's going up and checking the Zardia Isles. He found a gold bracelet so far for his troubles. That'll go a long way. And you think he'll go east like you recommended and go turn in that bottle before he goes over and does the Waterfall Sea Shrine?
We'll see. I think I definitely would, but I can also understand thinking that the Sea Shrine is a little bit too dangerous for you.
Now it looks like Girl Drink Drunk did his first volcano dive, and going back in, do you think that it's his intent to full clear the volcano this early?
I think that's very ambitious, and I think you
X.
can do it. Between having Quad X, between having Nuke and Ice 3 at decent levels, I think this is certainly doable. Unfortunately for them, the floater is just a hair's breadth away if they just took the time to go to Provoca, but definitely doesn't know that right now, and I think that this is a play that they can make to get some EXP and really buff themselves for later dungeons.
Canunton in chat asking if anyone has a lead. Fellas, too early to tell. I would think we're nearing the 20-minute mark.
I tend to favor having the airship as a little bit of an early advantage. I think the knowledge that Elastoid and Tarnin, and I'm sure some of our off-screen runners also have the airship, they're going to be gaining knowledge quickly and able to find some items in some easy-to-access areas. So I tend to favor having that airship versus not.
And look, I'd say that both Tarnin and Elastoid are probably ahead in the memes so far. They both picked up a lit axe, which that's always handy, and then a hold shirt, if I recall. So maybe putting too much starch in with that laundry detergent. I don't know.
And that hold shirt could be a nice advantage if they decide to dig Volcano. Hold being a status spell is one of Carrie's weaknesses, so that could give them a free out on that fight, essentially.
Looks like Tarnin has managed to make it up to Gaia, probably investigating what that fairy's got, and just checking in the weapons and armor shops. This is something, actually, Shadow, that I find I make mistakes on often. If the item magic is shuffled, it really pays to check those weapon and armor shops. You never know when you're going to find a cheap nuke stick or a Tier 3 helm, and if you never check the shops, you never know.
Right, and that's with a flag that we have called random weapons and armor that actually isn't checked off in this match, but 99 times out of 100 they are together, and you can dig up, we just had a match earlier, and it was a Fade helmet for 10,000 gold, and I got as many of them as I could as soon as I could. Girl Drink Drunk picked up an opal bracelet here. This is an ambitious move, using real good use of the Quad X spell. Heal potions are there, and we're going to see our first look at the Red Dragon chest, which is incentivized in this match, coming up.
Kind of another unspoken thing that we haven't mentioned, Agamas tend to have fewer than 300 hit points. We could see an easy Agama grind with that Quad X bracelet bracer to guarantee that they have the experience to take out the Fiend of Fire.
Rom, Shadowwalker, were you guys involved in that match that was somewhat recent, the new player match, where Carrie 1 took out more players than players took out Carrie, and there was like a dozen players in that match? And you can't underestimate Carrie 1. She'll get you.
That is definitely true. I believe I was on commentary with you last week when that happened. But yeah, Carrie 1 can be full of surprises. I believe in the bonus stream, we saw Carrie 1 hit for, what was it, 19 hits for about 1,400 damage? You try resisting that.
Yeah, press F to pay respects to Will for his single white mage from that one. I believe I do remember that Wilcleosis. That was, I think, my inaugural race was the Nasty Carry 1 and Nasty Carry 2. And then I think a few weeks ago we also saw a Nasty Lich 1 in the Templar Fiends Revisited as well. First round nuke. It just goes to show, even though these early Fiends don't get respect, sometimes they make you pay for it.
We've got 4 loose key items. SVJ actually just stopped by, picked up those 3 silly chests in Matoya's cave. One of them was the TNT, so that's one of the loose ones. Girl Drink Drunk got the crown out of the incentivized Red Dragon chest in the volcano. Steps away from Carry.
Yep. Meanwhile, we see Elastoid also going into the waterfall, and we see Tarnin making the same play. It looks like he's going to go dig what's in Waterfall, and then probably both head over to Sea Shrine and see what the ladies have in store for us today.
Now, Shadow, all of these runners have brought a fighter with them. Looks like that'll probably be the main damage dealer. We haven't really seen any endgame swords or anything. You know, what's kind of your minimum bar of requirement for, you know, I have this sword, that'll do just fine for entering Temple of Fiends Revisited?
I kind of think Sun Sword is probably like the minimum viable weapon. Ice Sword can get the job done if you've got like Power Gauntlet, some Temper Charges fast. But certainly, I like to have a strong weapon, and I think Sun Sword is probably about the lowest that I'm comfortable with.
Girl Drink Drunk making his ambitious run on Carry. Carry's Lit 2, I think, already got a couple of wall charges off on some Light Warriors here, firing off some ices and lightnings, but Carry doesn't seem too affected by whatever dagger the fighter is wielding here. This looks pretty dire here, Shadow.
Girl Drink Drunk's got to attack. You got to take Carry out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like they don't have any nuke charges left, and that would have been... This is the problem with diving an early Fiend. You have... Ooh, Quad X for an erase! Well done, Girl Drink Drunk. Gets her first orb at the 24-12 mark.
Just goes to show that sometimes those drinking strats pay off.
Well played, Girl Drink Drunk. First one to light an orb in this entire match. Over on Elastoid's side, the incentivized waterfall location, the defense sword was originally located there, but that's been shuffled with the item Magic Shuffle. It's equipable, and you can still, whack at people with the defense sword, and it's got all its traits. But the spell has been shuffled to heal 3. That's pretty useful.
Yeah, that's a great find. Infinite uses of the heal 3 spell can definitely go a long way to keep your party alive in long dungeons. One thing I want to touch on with Girl Drink Drunk's fight is whenever you're trying to dive an early Fiend, you always have to make sure you have resources available. And I would have liked to see Girl Drink Drunk take on a little bit of be a little bit more cautious with the uses of nuke on the way down, making sure to save a charge or two to be able to take out Carry.
Yeah, I didn't count the encounters. I didn't see if Girl Drink Drunk found anything that was unrunnable and super nasty. Sometimes you don't really have an option. It's either, you throw a nuke down, or you just watch your Light Warriors get whittled down, and that can be pretty tough on the soul to watch. And Elastoid in Sea Shrine in under 26 minutes. This is a breakneck pace that we have. I've seen Elastoid for about the last month now, just executing near flawless technique. And I have to wonder, is this Elastoid's last new player race?
The jury's a little bit out on that one, but definitely Elastoid is a great player. Despite their coming to the community very, very recently, we've seen some great races and great runs made by Elastoid. And St. Von Jester has joined Elastoid and Tarnin up in the kind of Onrak continent, making a play at Waterfall now.
And Elastoid runs into some unrunnable ghosts that hit the Black Mage for over 150 damage through a gold bracelet, I believe, and they're unrunnable. So very few resources available to take those ghosts out. Fortunately, I believe Elastoid did pick up Warp, so if necessary, they can just warp out of there. And electing to check some of these hitherto scattered chests right above the mermaids. I don't know if I like this play. I usually check these chests once I've checked the mermaids, because they're just so scattered, and you have to fight through nasty things in order to get to them, like these ghosts. Oh boy.
Yeah, I definitely understand not wanting to leave stones unturned, and maybe their plan is just to, once they've gotten to the mermaids, just go ahead and exit right on out with, a couple charges of the warp spell, so that they can go ahead and save immediately. Yeah, the unrunnable ghosts are definitely a problem on this floor. The fact that ghosts have such a high natural attack stat, they almost always do tons and tons of damage, even if you have good armor. A little bit of an annoyance about them being unrunnable, the ghost fight is actually linked to the phantom fight. So when we see the phantom in Temple of Fiends Revisited, the phantom will also not be runnable.
We can tell you that off stream we've got players also in the Sea Shrine, and this is a very favorable mermaids area. They're going to find some things that they like very much. However, it's not going to be progression. Also off stream, MBI made some leaps and bounds forward. Let me tell you this, in the last 2 weeks, it absolutely blew me away with the forward progress that MBI has made from these new player matches. He is the only one that has jumped into the Earth Cave with that potential incentivized item as well. None of our players did that except for off-stream with MBI, so we're going to see how that works out.
Elastoid making us just wait on hooks to see what's in this incentivized chest. It is a ribbon and a mass moon right next to each other. Oh boy, that's a little I'd be happy to see that on my plate.
Oh yeah, that's going to greatly accelerate their ability to clear things. We're not going to see some high absorb fiend ones that are going to be able to resist the Mazimune.
What is resisting the Mazimune? Go ahead.
Possibly Tia 1 could have the absorb needed to dampen the blows of the Mazimune, but I don't think we'll see that out of any other fiends.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to see Elastoid do at this point is go take a run at Kraken, probably check all the chests that are along the way, and then warp back out, save those levels, and then make a depth charge for Kraken. I know that's a bit more of a conservative play. I don't know if Elastoid will do that. They just seem intent on throwing caution to the wind and just nuking down everything in their path.
Yeah, I think if Elastoid is going to try to do this all-in-one dive, I would like to see them hang on to some of those nuke charges. He does have, looks like he started with 6, he's used one of them already. But definitely Kraken 1 can have a fair bit of HP. Even with that Quad X Gauntlet and the Mazimune, I would be saving probably about 2 charges of nuke on each of my black casters.
Romulussus, the Ice Cave is not incentivized here. You've got Warp at level 2. When and do you ever consider making a jump in there?
That's tough. Ice, you have to get down 3 or 4 floors before you even start finding chests. It's got such a breadth of enemies that can have any number of spells. I think we all have some type of affection for it, but it's based off of kind of type 2 fun. We've all wiped in there about, I don't know, Shadow Walker maybe 227 times, and you just develop some type of Stockholm Syndrome for it. In this race, I wouldn't be surprised if the runners steer as far away from it as possible.
Yeah, in this case, with Ice not being incentivized, with Ordeals not being incentivized, with Marsh not being incentivized, I wouldn't be surprised if we see our runners completely avoid those areas unless we run into a block of some kind that we're not able to get to a dungeon. In this case, we already have the rod. We have the floater. We know that Crown is going to turn into the key. So I think that kind of depends on what we find in Earth. Of whether or not they'll be able to clear through Mirage and Sky, because they will need both the chime and the cube in order to do that. So it looks like one of those 2 items is probably going to be loose based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point there, Shadow. I'd probably check. To be honest, I'd probably full clear Earth before I even go over to Ice Cave, but I'd still save Marsh for last, I think. And looks like St. Von Jester going the MBI route and going down into Earth Cave. I don't know if St. Von Jester managed to obtain the rod so far. So they might just be going down there to, knock out a vampire with some garlic breath and grab whatever's in that incentivized chest and warp out of there.
Did we see if St. Von Jester picked up the rod from Sarda?
Meanwhile, Elastoid, it looks like, has gone back down to the mermaid floor to check that one remaining chest that they had missed. Boy, I don't know. That's one chest. That's a long way to go for it. It's only a few seconds. I don't think I would have made that play until the very end, and I would have just told myself if I would have lost it there, I would have lost it. But it looks like Elastoid is going to try and grind a level or two here before the final attack on Kraken. Meanwhile, Girl Drink Drunk just delivers a crown to a kindly old king and winds up, well, getting stoned as a result. Goodness, that happened fast.
Yeah, Astos doesn't have a whole lot of hit points. Often you can even just quad X him down with that quad X bracelet that we found. I understand now why Elastoid was checking that chest, taking some of these fights at the entrance. I'm going to guess based on this play that he doesn't quite feel comfortable with his levels, being able to take out Kraken in one go. And from that perspective, if you're going... Oh, we see the TNT from Girl Drink Drunk. Unfortunately, that's only going to turn into the canal. So that's a bit of a bust there.
It is a bit of a bust in terms of progression. However, there is a 150% experience boost at 12 key items. Turning in that TNT and getting the canal gives you yet another key item at this point. So at least early game, I mean, we're at the 33, 34 minute mark. I think it's worth dropping by there if you have the Mystic Key in hand. Which GDD is about to have. So if you're walking by there, you might as well turn it in and get a key item.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's something we hadn't really touched on, is that in this flag set that we started with 240, 2.4x and plus 200 EXP, and once you turn in that, or get that 12th key item, you then get another 50% bonus on top of the calculated experience. So that basically becomes 3.6 plus 300 at that point. So getting to that 12th key item is going to be very important for our runners.
And I think that's where that dive from in the volcano from GDD, netting that crown, getting the herb, the crystal, and the Mystic Key, not only the benefits of the Mystic Key and all the chests that it opens up, but all those items that just popped up ever so closer and closer than a lot of other players to that 12 key item benchmark to go ahead and potentially level up, make a move, and assess the situation.
Tarnin actually getting a good wind of luck here and finding the Fog 2 helmet on the way to go take out Kraken. I mean, we know Tarnin has a ribbon, a Mazmoon, and now an item to kind of ameliorate some of those tentacles that we know are just going to be reaching out to hit one of those mages. That's a lucky find. That would probably change whether I retreat or not. And a cube in that same floor located in the bottom left chest. Wow, but not checking the trap chest. Interesting moves from Tarnin here. What do you think, Shadow?
That cube being loose is big, and I think Tarnin now probably is going to assume that he does not need to check any further chests. He doesn't know it just yet, but we know that once he's found that cube, pretty much the Earth chest is about guaranteed to be the slab. That slab will turn in for Chime, and that will open up access to all of the dungeons.
They are the incentivized chest behind the vampire in the Earth Cave is the slab.
Looks like we've got a question in chat from Falconic. The difference between fog and ruse. There's a bit of division in the community as Girl Drink Drunk finds a ship in a box. Ruse decreases the enemy's ability to hit you. It makes you more elusive. And the fog increases the armor that you have. So it's both ways to ameliorate damage. Some people think that the best way to avoid damage is to not have the hits affect you, and others think the best way to avoid damage is to not get hit at all. Both useful tactics, and you just got to use what's available to you. In this case, Fog 2. Yeah,
and Fog 2 really makes its presence felt on enemies. Each time you're increasing that armor, that means that all of those hits do that amount less damage. So let's say you have 8 more points of armor. That's 8 damage that you're negating from every attack that does land. And that can add up in a hurry with some of these enemies that have 5 hits to 8 hits. Make a huge impact.
Girl Drink Drunk being the first to check the key-locked chests up here in Temple of Fiends, so just full clearing with this resource. I really like this play because, you know, you have to feel like since you found all this because of your volcano dive, you're one of the few to have all this information. If you find anything that's necessary, that's a huge win, but I don't think we've seen anything that's been absolutely required out of any of the key-locked chests. The ship is antiquated a little bit since it, well, you know, can't achieve flight quite yet. Not the Wright brothers didn't get a hold of it.
Well, we did see one item in a key-locked chest, and I'm surprised Wilkliosis hasn't jumped at it. Girl Drink Drunk located the Vorpal in the Northwest Castle key-locked chests.
The game changer?
Indeed.
Oh, I wasn't aware that this was a sword that was in this game. Can you tell me something about it, Wilkliosis?
It's called the game changer. I mean, it speaks for itself. Obviously, the Vorpal blade, high crit rate. You must be promoted to use. You got to be a big boy. It can be used by a ninja, a knight, a red wizard as well to essentially seal up the end game and nearly guarantee victory.
Yeah, with a 60% crit rate, the Vorpal is a great weapon that can pierce some of those high absorb enemies that you find in the late game, like Topher. Sometimes that can make a huge difference and really get you through those fights.
And it looks like chat just unanimously agreeing that this Vorpal weapon is fantastic. I have no reason to disagree with any of these opinions. Elastoid further checking a few more of the chests in Sea Shrine, as Tarnin is as well. They're just neck and neck right now. I think Tarnin had to duck back out after 2 light warriors perished in an encounter, and Elastoid looks a little bit beefier from all that grinding as they find the dragon armor. For now, that's just a nice little paperweight, but once the tail is found, that'll really be a nice boost for Elastoid.
Dragon armor is a great find. Unfortunately, I think we're going to find the tail locked behind the cube in the Sky Castle. As we've seen almost all the other incentive items. We've seen the ribbon, we've seen the defense sword, which in this case rolled heal 3. We've seen the bonk, which was the Quad X gauntlet. So I'm pretty much convinced that the Sky Castle must have the tail, and our other loose items are going to be the bridge and the ruby.
I think I found what Tarnin encountered earlier. It looks like sea snakes have Blizzard, and they can be found in huge packs with the seafood platter, so that's definitely something you don't want to see, especially this early on with only 1 ribbon.
Yeah, with only 1 ribbon, you've got to really defend either your tank or your white caster if you've got like a life spell available. So hopefully going to be avoiding the rest of those encounters, as it looks like he is on Kraken's floor now and making his way over to that Fiend of Water.
Looks like Saint Von Jester is taking some of the trap tile encounters in 4th floor of Earth Cave. I know you can route to avoid all of those trap tiles. Shadow, is there a reason to test those? Do you think just probe for experience, maybe?
The trap tiles in the Earth Cave, I wouldn't. There's not very many good fights that you're gonna. Any. Maybe you want to probe the Earths to see what they have, since you're going to see them again in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. But at this point in time, I would try to be avoiding those encounters and just see what the chests have in store.
I think Falconic in chat pointing out something. I don't know quite. Being a fan of the Mass Moon is like being a fan of the 72 Dolphins. There can only be 9 enemies on the screen at any given time here, and I don't believe there are any dolphins. Maybe he's referencing the Sahags. It's not quite clear.
So Girl Drink Drunk picking up their Oxheal. We'll see if that pushes them over to the Onrak continent to join Tarnin or Elastoid.
And boy, Tarnin and Elastoid high-fiving at Kraken. It looks like neither of them have respected Kraken enough to rearrange their party. And are just slowly probing here to see how tough this Kraken is. I see nukes flying out, attacks. It looks like Kraken is the first to land a blow on Tarnin's fighter. It just does about 150 damage. Nothing too worrisome here as the nukes keep flying.
So this is interesting. We got a quick glimpse at the inventory of that black belt that Tarnin has. Looks like Tarnin has decided to keep their black belt alive and is giving them a slew of items to sling around. Black belt has a veritable arsenal of castable items: the Quad X bracelet, the Heal 3 sword.
Yeah, it looks like the black belt is a real Bruce Wayne. Got a full utility belt, able to help out anyone. If you have shuffled item magic, that can be a real boon. That fourth party member, instead of just being carpeting that the rest of your light warriors can trudge on for an hour and a half, can really provide some value forward service.
It's interesting. I want to ask Tarnin about that. I like what he's doing. I don't like letting go of the black belt in this, given the Fog 2 helmet, and especially that Quad X gauntlet. And I'd like to point out one more time, no player in this match, there's 10 of them, have entered the Ice Cave or Castle Ordeals. Neither are incentivized, and based upon that cube being loose, we might not see either of them. 2 dungeons, and a third, perhaps the Marsh Cave, might not pop up in this match at all.
Yeah, I still think that we're lacking, correct me if I'm wrong here, Shadow, you're much better with this than I am. I think we still need that chime in order to kind of achieve true go mode.
So we saw the slab in Earth, and because fetch NPCs are not shuffled, that slab translate must turn into the chime. So given that knowledge that the Lefanians are going to give us the chime, we'll be able to go into Sky Castle with that cube, and because the non-quest item key items are not incentivized, we know that the Sky Castle must have the tail, and so the remaining 2 loose items are going to be the bridge and the ruby. So I don't think we'll see a play for any of those dungeons, Ordeals, Ice, or Marsh.
So one of the chests in Volcano eventually led to the key being found. One of the chests in Earth was required since it had the slab. So we're looking at a pretty even playing field here, since diving any one of those dungeons has yielded a serious advantage for whatever racer. So even though some racers here have 1 orblet, I think all 4 of our featured runners do at this point, this is a lot closer than it actually looks.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting here. All of our runners will have to dive both Sea Shrine and Earth Cave before they dive Sky Castle, because we're going to have that chime and the cube in order to complete the dungeon. So I think we'll kind of see all of our runners probably converge around Mirage Sky Castle around that time. And I think that will be our first glimpse of who's truly ahead.
Now the cube was found loose in the sea. If I'm St. Von Jester, I have the slab, I get that translated, but I can't enter the upper floor since I don't have the cube. I probably wouldn't do a dive on Mirage. I'd probably do Sea Shrine or Volcano next, and both of those are good options. Yeah, I really like what St. Von Jester found in the Earth Cave, really giving them a real shot. Oh, it looks like the slab was hidden behind the vampire, as Tarnin is the one to dig that out.
Yeah, we'll see once Elastoid and Tarnin and St. Von Jester, we'll see once they get that crown and turn that in for eventually getting the Mystic Key, see if they follow that key up to find out what's in those keylock chests. But I have a feeling that with Tarnin and Elastoid having dug the mermaids and finding such good equipment, I don't think that they're going to follow that to the natural conclusion of checking the keylock chest, and I think they might gain a little bit of time there.
Right, that ribbon was in the incentivized chest in the Mermaids of the Sea Shrine, dug up on the left side of your screen by both Tarnin and Elastoid, and the tail is going to be in the floating fortress in the original adamant chest, if our math is correct, I believe.
And I think most runners in this situation will be going to Mirage and Air Shrine last, so their levels should be pretty good for when they bump into the inevitable War Mech, because Shadow Walker, I believe that there's a required War Mech in this new player race. Why are we putting them through this?
Because we love War Mech and we don't get to see him often enough, so we need to kill him.
Moist Mogwai is actually the organizer of this. Myself and Moist Mogwai have been doing a lot of getting this all together as Elastoid picks up his opal bracelet. He's got to like to see that. This was voted on via a survey, and required war mech is in there. So, careful what you wish for.
Got a few masochists, it looks like, in this new player collective. That's fine. They'll be welcome here as Tarnin lights the Earth Orb. I see a question in chat from Lord Fizzlebeef about Tarnin skipping chests. I was wondering about that myself. I wonder if Tarnin is thinking there's not enough chests in Earth Cave to really be valuable. You know that the slab is, or some key item is located behind the vampire. You pick up the slab. Could be a calculated play here. Shadow, you're better with the calculations than I am. Do you like that play, skipping those Earth chests, or would you have full cleared Earth in that situation?
Oh, Tarnin is a smart guy. He saw that he got the Quad X Gauntlet. He saw that he got the Heal 3 from the robot. Saw that he got the Ribbon. Those are the 3 possible items that could push a key item into a loose chest.
Lower left-hand side. Lower left-hand side of your screen. Elastoid's up to something. Gonna solo grind the
grind?
Fighter?
Oh, yeah, he is. That is exactly what's about to happen. We're going to see some Agama facts, Shaq.
Please, no Agama facts. That was a long time ago. We don't do Agama facts, at least hopefully not anymore, ever again.
Now this is interesting.
Tarnin skipping the chest. I think he knows that, seeing that cube, he knows that the TNT, that the bridge, that the ruby are going to be in the group of loose chests. So once he saw that cube, I'm confident that he has done the math and figured out that he knows exactly where he needs to go.
So let's talk about this Agama grind here real quick. As you mentioned, Shadow, the percentages of boss, I think they go up to 200%. I believe that the fighter for Elastoid was already in the low 20s. I personally feel pretty comfortable with diving Topher, especially with the Mazmoon in the early 20s. I don't know how much this grind is really necessary here. What do you think, Shadow?
This is not the play that I would be making. At this point, you've got your water orb lit. The fact that you took down Kraken should probably be a good indicator that you're not going to really need to grind to take out Carry. You're definitely not going to need to grind to take out Lich. I don't think that this is really going to gain Elastoid any time back later that he couldn't be getting by picking those levels up as he goes along.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of in agreement on that. We got Split Punch joining us in chat. Always a pleasure to see you, Split. He doesn't understand it at all either, but we'll see what it is that happens here. I like the different item magic that we've had. Fog 2, Quad X, Heal 3 coming from the Switch. That could have been Dark Lamp and Heal 1. And I think that that is an upgrade, even though as much as we want the Power Gauntlet. And I think that that would make me, Rom, that would make me want to get in the Temple of Fiends a little bit sooner. Just like I think it was you said, low 20s, you got a Mazmoon, you got all this other sort of stuff. Let's do this.
Yeah, I've been admiring Elastoid this whole time for just doing his best impression of the Flash or Superman, just flying through everything, caution thrown to the wind. And so I'm not quite sure I understand the menuing here from Windows and just the idea of the grind here. I don't think it's necessary, but who knows? Maybe Chaos will really have eaten his Wheaties and this grind will pay off. But for right now, it's just given Tarn an opportunity to, maybe establish a solid lead.
Tarnin is making quick work of this volcano. Looks like he has decided, he's going to check a couple of chests along the way. This makes sense. Just taking chests along the way, even though we saw him skip the chest in Earth Cave. No, he's going to full dig this floor, it looks like, actually.
Maybe Tarnin's thinking, I've only got this one ribbon. If I want to play true pretty princesses, I need 2 or 3 ribbons. I would maybe check any of the chests that are along the way. Maybe this 5 chest cluster here without checking the trap tile one. But yeah, I'd have to feel like the clock's ticking at this point.
Yeah, this is risky. Shadow Walker for Elastoid. You could run into an enemy that you haven't seen. Red Giants, perhaps with this Red Dragon. Stone Touch. You could get paralyzed with Dazzle, something along those lines. It's risky.
It sure is, and for all he knows, Carrie could have rolled Death Touch or Stone Touch. Any of the enemies along the way could have rolled either of those. Although he does have a ribbon, so any particular skills or spells that are elemental are not going to be a huge deal. Definitely some of those things like Death Touch carry or Stone Touch carry could have really put a stop to this plan.
Looks like Elastoid does manage to gain a couple of quick levels and is going to try and make short work of the Fiend of Fire, which I don't think we saw. We saw it give Girl Drink Drunk a few troubles, but I think that was back when his fighter was just kind of waving around a shiny knife, and the Mass Moon is a little bit better. Wow, going for the Fog too. That's a lot of respect for Carry 1.
I really don't understand. If you have a fighter in the mid-20s, you're going to 1 or 2 shot carry. I think the Fog 2 charge is playing it way too safe, question mark, given that you're on a solo strat right now.
Yeah, an interesting mix of safe strats and kind of bold strategy, going down to 1 Light Warrior and checking new enemies you haven't probed before. For those present on the race that we did this last Thursday for the weekly race, I think we saw Split Punched charge into Mirage Tower with only 1 Light Warrior capable of casting Fade, and I was aghast at this and immediately proven wrong, as Split Punched managed to do the whole thing no problem and got a plethora of levels. So maybe those are just some next level strats coming out of veterans here, and Elastoid was watching that and taking notes as Astus goes down.
So it looks like Girl Drink Drunk has made their way to the Sea Shrine. Gonna pay Kraken a visit here in a little bit. Blastoid following up the crown into the key chest quest chain. Tarnin is picking up his crown as we speak. And St. Von Jester is saying hello to Carrie as well.
So everyone kind of, doing the steps of this dance, but in a slightly different order. We've seen Water Shrine, we've seen Earth Shrine, we've seen Volcano, and it looks like everybody's going to be converging here on Mirage Tower and Air Shrine. I'm really looking forward to it, Shadow. Are we going to have all 4 of our runners in Mirage or Air looking to take down that Tin Bucket and the Fiend of Air herself, Tiamat?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that's what we're going to see. I think one point of interest that I am really curious to see how our runners respond to, we're going to find the tail in the Sky 2 chest where the Adamant normally is. I am curious to see if any runners decide to take the opportunity after getting that tail to leave class change and come back to try and put themselves into a better position to fight Warmech, versus the runners that think that they're already in a fine position to do so, and maybe even skip the class change altogether.
Yeah, as of right now, I think we've seen some of our runners pick up Dragon Armor. You have the Mazmoon. I'm not sure if it'd be worth jumping out of the Air Shrine in order to fly all the way over and class change. It might depend on whether you find another ribbon on the way up, because if you don't, then that Dragon Armor gives just a few more pieces of defense. As Wilkliosis pointed out, we had those pro rings available, I believe, in Corneria, and I know I saw Girl Drink Drunk go back and fully equip her Light Warriors with them. Or his Light Warriors with them, excuse me. So, I think it just depends on how cautious you're going to be. And as we've seen from some of our runners, there can be flashes of caution and then thrown to the wind just as quickly.
Yeah, I agree that if I were in this position, I would probably be diving all the way to try and take out Warmech, to try and take out Tia. But one point of consideration is for those of our runners that didn't take a White Mage, they have no life magic available. Any warriors that Warmech takes down are dead.
Yeah, that is a concern. I think all of the runners will have Fog 2 helmet by then, so, even if your lone fighter is the one to kind of pick up from the ravages of Warmech and crawl his way to Tiamat, I think with that Fog 2 helmet, I'd be feeling okay. Maybe hope you get some good turn order.
Tarnin is definitely showing, guys, why this will be Tarnin's last new player match. Currently, Tarnin is the only player with 3 orbs lit. Most players have 2 orbs lit. Wappy off stream is the first in this entire match to enter the Mirage Tower.
Wow.
Closing in the Floating Fortress as well. Like a Starscream's got a couple orbs lit. A Tiny Fairy just got their first orb. Soul Taker and MBI hot on everyone's heels with 2 orbs lit. This is a pretty close match. I would give Tarnin about a 5-minute edge overall.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. We all were kind of wondering what was going on with Elastoid and positing about fourth dimensional strats, and Tarnin, in the meantime, just saw all of us talking and took action. I think that's exactly what this seed needed.
And it's players like Tarnin, and I think he's a good example. Lord Fizzlebeef, who's been joining us most of the night as well. It's like if you watch a football game, an American football game, and you don't notice the refs. And when you don't notice the refs in an American football game, it means you're doing a good job. And when you don't notice a player for a little bit, like we kind of just didn't with Tarnin, it's because they're doing so well.
Yeah, it kind of seems like everything is falling into place. He found all the right that ribbon, that Mazza, that cube out of Sea Shrine. I think he recognized that that was what he needed to kind of put it in second and try and ramp up and go fast.
I like that Tarnin is going fast, but still only in second. I think that's a good analogy of the speed of the seed so far. And there we have it, the chime. Shadow proving you correct. It looks like Tarnin is going to have a little sojourn here and head off to Mirage and Air. And if I'm Tarnin, I'm not going to kill this Tyro, but unfortunately, I am not Tarnin. So
dinner time.
Tarnin likes some EXP. He likes some Tyro steaks.
That's tough for me to watch there.
Tarnin, in fact, takes probably a few more fights than, certainly more fights than I would take. I think he tends to favor any fight that gives him, at the levels that he's at, any fight that gives him 800 or more experience points. So he is almost always going to have the levels like when he's going through like this. So I would not be surprised at all if he's fully capable of doing all of Sky in one go, even with the required Warmech.
Let's turn our attention away from the innocent Tyro slot here. It looks like Girl Drink Drunk has managed to pull Kraken 1. Picked up Invis 2 somewhere along the way. It looks like that White Mage may pay off, as access to both Invis 2 and Fog 2 could help tremendously in a real nasty Topher. So that's a strong advantage that both Girl Drink Drunk and St. Von Jester could have with that White Mage in their parties.
Yeah, getting some big criticals out of the fighter. We saw over 300 on the first hit and about 284 on the second hit. This Kraken is not long for the world. We're about to have some squid.
Yeah, SVJ's playing a quiet game here. The key is the cube. You see all three other featured players here with the cube. If he can get that cube, he's going to be able to compete here in this match, but he's a ways away from it. If he goes there now, he probably needs to get that which everyone else has at this point.
Yeah, St. Von Jester would have to make some pretty bold plays to make that cube dash first, and you're probably going to go check those mermaids first, pick up that ribbon and massa, which feels good, but then you're there at about the hour 10, and then you clear those chests right above mermaids, and it's not there, and then you're another 5 minutes in before you find that cube in the bottom left corner of that Sea Shrine floor. So again, some solid plays from St. Von Jester. It's just, I don't anticipate making the cube dash. I think it's just going to be slow and deliberate plod to find that cube location.
Girl Drink Drunk getting back into their airship. We'll see where they go. Whether they decide to go to... well, they're definitely going to go... Oh, they haven't done Earth, so they can't go to Mirage. Never mind.
Yeah, I'd expect Girl Drink Drunk to fly through Earth Cave and kind of throw caution to the wind. But, we'll see, I think, maybe in this dive here if they check chests or not. And nope, he goes. It looks like that Vampire and then Lich One are going to be not long for this world, as Tarnin actually takes down the Blue D. I didn't see if that was unrunnable or not, but managed to bring it down. Gonna have a nice pelt and horns for that.
Once again, we'd like to thank Manochi85, the Buzzsaw himself, doing all the restreaming tonight. Certainly Randomizer for hosting us yet again here for another new player match. We've been doing this for actually 2 months now. It just keeps growing, and we keep having a good time. A participant, both yourself, Shadow Walker, you, Romulusus, graduated from the new players. Tarnin about to join you. Neon Gray's on the tracking. Neon Gray's participated in this. And, of course, the venerable Mr. Facetti himself taking care of the tracking as well. Thank you, everyone, joining up with the crew, and Randomania certainly for hosting us tonight here on this early September, late Sunday evening.
Tarnin is on his way to pick up that tail. So definitely looking at least to class change once he gets out of here. And St. Von Jester showing us exactly where his loyalties lie on the Tyro stake matter.
Wow, I watched St. Von Jester's stream earlier and provided helpful commentary, and I'm regretting those actions now, as we do see Tarnin manage to locate the tail. Is gonna probably turn that in after completes the sojourn to visit the tin can and the Fiend of Air. And gets another rock goal fight. If I'm Tarnin, I'm not upset about this. Rock goals can be good experience, and unless they've got something real nasty, they usually go down pretty easy.
Yeah, I myself would probably be running from this fight only because I know that we're hitting that end game, and in the end game, I always try and push myself to go fast. Plus, any resources that you're using up means fewer resources for Warmech available. But he does get rewarded with another level for his plan, for his time.
And it looks like Tarnin is going to check all the chests on this floor, probably dicking for that ribbon. Is there anything else that you'd be looking for, Shadow, at this point?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think it's anything other than a ribbon, although that Aegis Shield is a nice prize.
Yeah, as far as, it could be looking for a weapon as well. Could be, it doesn't have the Vorpal sword. Could be a potential option, so you look to class change, but also the fights. I think it was Fuchsia Fantasy that coined the term. There are no bad fights here. Take a couple extra HP and levels, because that Warmech is required.
Yeah, I see the wisdom in taking the high experience fight. However, I've seen my fair share of whiz vamps that can hit hard enough to end runs on the floor, so I do approach it with a bit of trepidation. And it looks like Elastoid making their way over to Mirage Tower as well. And yeah, Will, I think you hit it on the head. I think minutes delay.
Second ribbon located in Mirage 1. There's a ribbon in the very middle chest. St. Von Jester just picked it up.
And that's good for St. Von Jester. 2 ribbons is going to be nice. I guess, yeah, if you're St. Von Jester at this point, you have to be hoping for just a brutal Temple of Fiends Revisited that, you know, the maybe less ribboned contesters didn't pick up along the way.
Yeah, SVJ's dive into Mirage doesn't have the cube.
Third ribbon located in Sky 3 by Tarnin.
There is a good bulk density of chests, and the cube could be in here. We've seen that happen before, but SVJ is going to be disappointed, unfortunately, not going to be able to have that cube. He's going to have to backtrack.
Looks like Elastoid is trying to dash through Mirage Tower as well. I don't believe that I saw them pick up that ribbon located in Mirage 1 that you pointed out, Shadow. So I think Elastoid maybe sensing that grind with the Agamas wasn't 100% necessary, and straps on the rocket boots and tries to get up this tower.
Yeah, I think Elastoid is probably going to stick to the greed chests. I would be a little bit surprised if he skips out on the 4 chests that are right by the entrance to Sky 4 and picks up that ribbon.
And chat, can we get... Oh, no, we don't need to get any blesses. Excuse me, because we are going to have a required one. You can bless... You know what, chat? You can bless anyway. You may have... I think it was Woat who likes to bless for 4 R-Hydras, if I'm not mistaken. So, and here they are. Yeah, so everyone, you know, get your wishes in. Nachos, fantastic. I think we're all hungry, Dylan.
Elastoid's got his pedal. He's got his foot on the pedal. Full gas, going straight forward, even skipping a green Medusa fight. Let's see if Elastoid stops off to the incentivized chest for the tail. He's had the black belt down the entire time. It could potentially benefit him to class change here because of the... Wouldn't be class changing into a master because the master's not going to be helping very much. Let's see if he skips it.
Tarnin's level
Nope.
23 now on their way up to Warmech. We'll see how he fares against Warmech. Looks like he did find some Doritos and gobbles those down.
Tarnin taking a moment to regain his composure before
30 heal
embracing the
potions.
Terminator.
He's got 20 heal potions left after this fight with Warmech.
Not even arranging the order of his light warriors. That is, whew, some disrespect thrown at Warmech here.
Well, with Warmech, you kind of need to go in an all offense strategy anyway, I think. So I wouldn't expect him to hold back. We're gonna see some nukes flying out and hopefully burn that Warmech down before he can take any of these light warriors out.
It looks like Warmech rolled pretty low absorb, so both the fighter and black belt putting in some good hits here, and down it goes. Holy cow! Look at those levels. That has to feel tasty.
And with Warmech down, I don't think Tia 1 is going to be long for the world. I think Tarnin's going to be our first runner that we see get into Topher.
That must have been one of the earlier Magitech models, as Lord Fizzlebeef pointing out. No armor on it. Gotta put some steel on the exterior there.
Even with some criticals, we only see 5 hits for 118 damage from the fighter and about 58 damage on a critical. Oh, never mind, there's a big crit. Tia 1 is down.
And Tarnin at just at 108.30 basically. All 4 orbs lit, 2 ribbons, Mazmoon, tail if you want it. Wow.
Tarnin, stop taking fights. Win your race, darn it.
Here we go. And a true champion of the people running away from this defenseless oh boy. Don't do it, fighter.
Tarnin, I know the XP is tasty. Just go.
Tarnin does not like his armor situation. And no access to a white mage as well. We're talking the life, you know, the invisibility too, that sort of thing. I think he's worried about his armor situation and potentially his levels.
Levels, I think, are maybe less of a concern here. I didn't see where gold bracelets were purchasable. Maybe, you know, it might be worth flying around the world to try and find them. But, you know, you're at 110. Why not just run into Temple of Fiends and see what's in there? I don't know. Fortune favors the bold, or at least it has today.
I thought gold bracelets were available in Provoca.
I think they were 30,000 in Provoca, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And Elastoid looked like is down to 2 light warriors, so had an incident somewhere along the way. And Warmech starts off the fight by just blasting the fighter for about 200 damage, 250 damage. And is just going through the greatest hits here and just punches the fighter right in the face again. And you having to use the heal 3 gauntlet on your fighter, that's a feels bad.
And at 110.20, after getting past the Bat Boss, Tarnin has made his way into the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Boy, Shadow or Will, I don't know if it was which one of you pointed out, but you know, you have to take Warmech down, because if you don't, he's going to win the war of attrition. And I think Elastoid making maybe an error here in trying to outlast the robotic menace.
Yeah, Warmech is a very powerful foe and does a lot of damage. So whenever I'm fighting Warmech, I always prioritize offense, especially with things like nuke and Mazmoon available.
He's gonna attack right now.
That's exactly right.
Instead, he offers up an ice sword to try and appease the old gods, but they are fickle and deny him his religious offering. Oh, and that was after the grind too. Oof, it's got to feel rough. You know, Will, I think you pointed out that the 4-man strats here had a lot of appeal to them since you had all these handy item magics to throw around. Elastoid carrying around a dead black belt this whole time. You think he's second guessing that strategy right about now?
I don't think so. I think he's kicking himself for maybe he forgot that Warmech was there. That does happen. I've done that. Doubtful, but I think it's more of you know what? I thought I could get through this, and I didn't. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to jump back in and hopefully attack Warmech certainly a little bit differently. I'd like to update you off stream as well. Wappy is fighting Warmech, about to light his 4th orb, trying to join Tarnin, and Wappy has jumped Elastoid right now after the wipe from Warmech. Meanwhile, Tarnin's just tearing through on the fire floor now of the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yeah, blink and you miss it. There was a Lich on your screen.
Who?
Yeah, Shadow, I did blink, and last time I checked, Tarnin was on the surface, so the fact that he is already on the fire floor, it's just a testament to the skills of this almost no longer eager beaver. And here we see another Warmech sighting over on Girl Drink Drunk's screen, and it looks like going with the fast temper strats here again. Just attacking Warmech, and Warmech decides that he's gonna take off the gloves and immediately fires off a nuclear.
Yeah, I think the fast makes a lot of sense, but I think at this point you got to start throwing the nukes. You need to do that damage. And after a second big hit from the fighter, Warmech does go down from Drink Drunk. He's going to heal back up and take down Tia 1. And Tarnin, again, blink and you miss it. There was a carry 2 on your screen. He is blazing through this Temple of Fiends refights.
And getting a bit fortunate even here with the seafood encounter. You don't like to see those lobsters, but you know that the sea snakes have Blizzard. So if you're going to see the seafood platter, no snakes, please. I'll have the Indiana Jones special. Thank you very much.
All right, Kraken, we're going aggressive strats. Fight, fight, nuke, nuke. 4 hits for 71. Looks like Kraken has a decent amount of absorb. Nuke for 286 and another for 312. And Kraken 2 goes down.
Too much armor just weighs you down. That's the problem. He drowned. He managed to drown Kraken. I think that's a feat right there.
Yeah, Tarnin just on a breakneck pace. This is incredibly fast. Only 4 minutes into the Temple of Fiends Revisited, and he's already on Tiamat 2.
Getting a little bit of luck there as he gets some pretty low nuclear rolls here and manages to maintain all 40 party members and the paper Tiamat.
Holy cow! This is a walk in the park after that Warmech fight.
Tarnin has to be grinning like the Cheshire Cat right now. That you have to feel good after just wiping the floor with some Theme 2s, running up to kick Chaos right in the teeth.
All right, our last potential gatekeeper of the seed. We're about to pull Chaos. Smartly, he's moving that knight all the way to the back. Sorry, fighter is not even promoted.
Why do it?
And yeah, I mean, at this point, just go in and we're going. He's going to throw a nuke out
on the black belt, I believe.
Yeah, the black belt does have more hits, so he's going to get more damage from that temper on the black belt than he is on the fighter.
And it looked like Mazmoon not really delivering on damage, and felt certainly so. Oh boy.
Oh, this is a high absorb chaos, so we might be in for a little bit of a gatekeeper here at the end.
And no fast on the red mage or the black mage here. Still throwing charges on the black belt. I don't know if I agree with that. It looks like the Mazmoon is...
Big
Why
hit,
not throw your tempers there?
208 damage from the fighter, finally piercing some of that absorb that Chaos has with a nice critical. After 3 tempers, we'll see if the black belt finally is going to do some damage. Finally, just barely able to pierce through that armor. Unfortunately, the black belt is now down. Temper is no longer an available asset.
You just got to go with nukes here, right? I mean, this Chaos, he's going to win eventually. Got to beat him in the short game.
His red mage is out of nukes. He's throwing up some heal spells to keep his party alive and has to rely on some of those physical attacks to just pierce through that absorb. Heal 2 again from the red mage. Gonna try and keep that party alive as long as possible to do those crits. 4 hits for 215 damage. Heal 2 coming through, get some HP back. Chaos punches the red mage, takes some damage, but not enough to go lethal. 4 hits for 121 damage from the fighter. Still going at it.
That hit from Chaos, not that bad. It was a summer breeze. I think these light warriors might have it in the bag. Nasty.
5 hits, 303, another good hit.
Masmo's not making it happen. 5 hits, 5 damage from the Masmo's not going to get it done.
Yeah, at this point, it's only criticals that are going to pierce through Chaos's Absorb. Big hit, 443 damage from the black belt. Trying to make it happen.
And this is just the HP Baron Chaos here, just persevering through all this, the slings and arrows, and finally taking down those mages. It's down to the punchers and the slasher.
Yeah, at this point, it's whole day to win. Chaos throws out a Bane. Fortunately, doesn't take either of us. And Terminated! 145 damage to terminate Chaos. Tarnin is our first place finisher with the official SRL time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 3 seconds. GG, Tarnin. Well done.
Check it out, those GGs.
Tarnin's won this entire match. There's about 10 new players in it. While Tarnin that was a high HP Chaos. That was no walk in the park. Girl Drink Drunk is fighting the Phantom, has entered the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Also off stream, Wappy. Wappy's about 1 minute ahead of GDD right now. We're going to see if we can get Wappy in here for a potential close finish.
And it looks like Elastoid managed to make his way back up to the tin can and the Fiend of Air and find redemption, but no doubt he's probably looking over at his IRC client and seeing that Tarnin has already managed to swoop in on that victory.
We are working on getting Wappy in here. Wappy is about 1 floor ahead of GDD right now in the race for 2nd place. We're also working on getting Tarnin in here. We're going to find out and ask Tarnin exactly about keeping the 4 Light Warriors alive, what was the plan, what was the idea, and what he thought about this match tonight.
And Girl Drink Drunk really putting on a showcase here as well. Ever since that volcano dive, it's just shown excellent decision-making. Having the White Mage really paid off, getting life charges and those Invis 2s. So it's no surprise that we currently see him contending for 2nd in this incredibly tight, fast-paced new player race.
Who's in 2nd?
Girl
is that,
Drink Drunk and Tarnin are
GG, Tarnin.
coming up on your heels. Or, I'm sorry, Girl Drink Drunk and Wappy are tight on your heels.
That's who I figured it would be.
So congratulations, Tarnin. We finally have Tarnin in chat. How did you feel about that Temple of Fiends revisit?
Like, I was terrified the Chaos was gonna wipe me because everything else in the seed went perfectly, so something had to be awful.
And how did you feel when you saw that Chaos had high enough absorb that he wasn't taking it?
Very worried. Very, very worried. I did 2 practice seeds of this, and both of them went kind of like this until then wiping to Chaos over and over again. So I was very, very happy to see terminate.
Wappy, this is Rom here. I was wondering about your strategy to throw all the temper charges on the black belt. Do you feel that the Masa is just a strong enough endgame sword that it doesn't need any help?
Basically, it's just simple math. Like, each temper charge on a black belt creates more additional damage per hitting the fight command than on a fighter with Masa. My fighter was 24, so he was getting 5 attacks, and my black belt was above 22. So he was getting 8 attacks, so it just, each bonus point of damage was just more damage per attack once I got over the evade threshold. Or, absorb threshold, I mean.
GG's Tarnin, it's Will, congratulations.
Thank you,
You
Will.
kicked this match.
I
You
finally
finally
won.
won. You did, congratulations. We talked about it during the stream, you will be graduating, moving on.
Yeah.
Certainly from the new player race, so congratulations to you. I did want to ask, you kept the black belt up pretty much.
Yeah.
What made you make that decision? And
So-
worked out for you, obviously.
If you were paying close attention to my stream in the first 5 minutes, you would see that my plan going in was danning the black belt. I put him in first place hoping that Garland would punch him to death. And then when I got that Quad X item from the king, that just changed my whole approach to it. Then suddenly I've got basically a secondary red mage who can cast Quad X every fight, And that's what made me decide to keep him up. When I got the heal 3 item, then he's actually a useful contributing member of the party up until the point where he hits 22, and then he actually can murder things. And
The race for
then
second
when-
place. The race for second place continues. 3 players on 3 floors of the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Right now, it's Wappy on the air floor. Right behind him, GGD on the water floor, and behind them, Elastoid has entered there on the earth floor.
And it looks
Yeah,
like at some point along the way that Wappy did manage to pick up life 2 on that red wizard, which helped because Black Wizard went down in that Kraken 2 fight. So it's a nice fallback to have there.
I was really considering class changing just for those to get life too.
Ooh, and a big hit, 4 hits, 500 damage, terminates Tiamat 2. Wappy is now moving on to Chaos.
Come on, Rappy, you can do it.
And now,
GDD's Taking
Sorry,
this
go ahead, Will.
Taking this fight, is this unrunnable?
I don't. Oh, this
It
is
is.
unrunnable. Yep.
It is. Saving magic charges, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how many of these encounters Girl Drink Drunk had. Correct me if I'm wrong, Will or Shadow, but I believe that he was a floor ahead at one point of Wappy.
No, Wappy was about a minute ahead of Girl Drink Drunk consistently.
I see.
Through Temple of Fiends Revisited. Wappy on the Chaos fight now, tempering up the fighter, Knight, trying to pierce that absorb that Chaos has. Decides to switch gears and throw out the nukes. It's time to do some damage. Meanwhile, Girl
SVJ
Drink Drunk
on the
also picking up Kraken 2.
And it looks like SVJ in the bottom right finding that third ribbon, probably in 100% go mode now. Gonna try and reach up there to the top of the air shrine and then join everyone else in the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Blastoid's in trouble. He's down to the Knight. The Knight's paralyzed. Dizzy spinning endlessly. He's down to 30 HP. He's got to
Oh.
reset.
Oh,
That's a big blow. You get to Kraken 2 and find out that he's got a... Was it stun touch, or did he take a bad stop or a stun spell?
GG's to Wappy.
Wappy takes down Chaos, finishes in second place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 54 seconds. GG Wappy.
GG, Wappy.
Boy, yeah,
working on the revisited air floor and just about to pull Tiamat 2.
I missed whatever it was that Kraken 2 did to Elastoid to stun that fighter, but oh boy, you've just got to be tilting at windmills at this point. Having the wipes against Warmech and then against Kraken 2. How do you maintain composure in a situation like this, Shadow? What kind of keeps you sane?
So for me, when I take a bad wipe, I always tell myself that I've got to do one of two things. Either I need to change my strategy and come up with a better plan to take down that fight that wiped me, or I need to gain levels. In this case, it looks like Elastoid has something in mind, probably going to go in and maybe a little bit of change of tactics, either throw out more offense in the beginning or change up their strategy somehow. We'll see how they adapt. But if possible, if I have tools in my toolbox that I didn't dip into on one of these fights that I end up wiping to, I will look out and see what my other options are before I stop to grind levels.
Our great restreamer Minochi85 bringing in Soul Taker. Off-stream, Soul Taker and Leggy Starscream are both fighting Tiamat and Warmech, trying to light their 4th orbs. They're going to be in a race for the 4th, 5th positions right now. We've got 2 players that are finished, but the focus is on GDD, upper right-hand corner of your screen, looking to place 3rd here. Behind that is Elastoid looking to get 4th. 5th and 6th between Starscream, Leggy Starscream, and Soul Taker. We're going to bring them in as well and cover this entire match.
Wow, and Girl Drink Drunk, I guess Tiamat 2 must have had Trance, stuns the Knight and the White Wizard, and then the White Wizard goes down. No more life too. 2 Light Warriors left for the Chaos run. That's gotta hurt.
And
Yeah,
SVJ's right there too. SVJ's about to light his 4th orb.
With as much absorb as Chaos had, this is going to be a rough Chaos fight for Girl Drink Drunk.
Yeah, indeed.
So we got a Lastoid working on the fire. We've got Soul Taker working on promoting his classes, and we've got a Wappy in chat with us.
GG Wappy.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. How did you feel about your run?
Well, I felt I got worse as I sobered up. But it went okay.
GGD trying to take out Chaos to get third place. 10 hits from the Mazmoons, doing some good damage. There's 7 for $150. Chaos still fighting back. It's one-on-one, mano-a-mano. Chaos against GDD. Who is going to win this? Can Girl Drake Duck's down to 100 HP, trying to get third place. There's another attack. 281 is enough. Blizzard. Chaos has the Blizzard skill down to 73 HP. Only 95. Bane's ineffective from Chaos. A Lightning 2. GDD attacking for 142. Lightning 2. GDD's down to 26 HP. 10 hits from the Mazmoons, not doing enough damage.
Ink is a blank.
GDD make this happy. God! Yes! Chaos is terminated! Wow! 26 HP left. GDD takes down Chaos for third place with an official SRL time. 1 hour, 27 minutes, 46 seconds.
Very well done.
All calculated, I'm sure, from Girl Drink Drunk, who has just shown through the time that he's been here in the community that he is tactical and precision-based. Wappy, you mentioned that the seed kind of had some high moments initially on and then some lower moments later. Was there anything that you encountered later that really gave you, was a real head-scratcher?
No, I was just struggling to menu as I've been drinking a bit, so...
Sure, menuing is one of the sub-bosses of this game, I believe, if I'm right, Shadow.
Yeah, and I didn't have the cube. Didn't realize I didn't have the cube. And went into Mirage.
Oh, so you ended up having to double dip, leaving and finding the cube later?
Yeah, because I had gone into the water shrine and didn't full clear it because lobsters, stun touch, they were scary.
The sea snakes were terrifying as well.
Yeah, I don't remember what they had. Blizzard or something?
Something like that. I know I had some terrifying moments with sea snakes. They killed me down to 2 party members at one point.
Yeah, Tarnin, I believe we saw that. It was right after you'd grabbed the cube, and we were all wondering if you were going to make the mad dash for Kraken, and then the sea snakes kind of made up your mind for you, I think, there.
Oh, they definitely made my mind up for me. I was not going in black belt red mage against Kraken.
Lower left of your screen, we have a Lastoid working on trying to fight through Tiamat 2. Fighter is finally unstunned and capable of doing some damage, but Tiamat just fasted herself, so we'll see if that lands some big hits or not. Switching to an offensive mode, we see Nuke coming out. Oh no, Heal 2, sorry, and Fog 2 again. And terminated. The Lastoid is on the way to Chaos. Soul Taker doing some shopping now that they have the class change and we're going to have some access to some better spells. Girl Drink Drunk appears to be healing up. Buying some heal potions to stock back up for Topher. Oh wait, that's not Girl Drink Drunk anymore. Who is that?
Leggy Starscream.
Leggy Starscream, okay. Preparing themselves for the final fight for Topher. The Lastoid pulls Chaos.
And has rearranged his party a little bit, trying to protect that knight, taking a pretty different strategy than Tarnin did. Tarnin seems to have valued the black belt and all those hits, but Elastoid, kind of threw that black belt on the ground early on and picked him long enough for him to get blown away by Inferno from Chaos.
And that first turn, Inferno did a lot of damage. That master is no longer standing.
No, he has become the student.
Throwing out some more, tempers to see if we can't do some decent damage on the night. Fire 3 taking out the Black Mage as well.
Boy, taking a page out of Carrie's playbook here, he is just torching these Light Warriors.
And another Fire 3. Big hit, 5 hits for 483. Starting to finally do some work. Looks like he did burn up all of his nuke charges on previous floors, so nuke is not going to be an option for this fight. It's all going to be damage from the fighter.
That Mazmoon swinging for some decent damage. We're seeing some of the benefit of, but again, just not quite seeing the bang for the buck that I'm sure Elastoid was kind of wanting to see from that Agama grind.
Yeah, it looks like with those temper charges, he is now actually piercing Chaos Absorb with natural hits. So he is able to do damage even when he's not critically.
And it looks like the Red Wizard is swinging around a blue sword, but I don't the coveted blue sword. So many in our community treasure, and Elastoid manages to take down Chaos.
Yep, Elastoid gets the job done after that nasty wipe, comes back and finishes it in one go with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds. GG, Elastoid.
And maybe after that seed, Elastoid is going to pick up where Wappy left off, because there's some pretty brutal wipes that I think Elastoid encountered there that he'll probably be thinking about for the rest of tonight.
Uh-huh.
And we now have a Girl Drink Drunk 1 joining us in the commentary booth. GG, Girl Drink Drunk.
GG's. That was something.
GGG, it's Will. You got a Will Cleosis call on your final match with the Ultimate Fiend Chaos, so I certainly hope you get a chance to enjoy that and watching it back. Tell us about that final fight.
So, like, coming from NetHack, for this game, I'm like, well, I need my Ascension kit to be able to win the game. So it's like, in Final Fantasy, it's like, well, I need 2 ribbons. I just didn't easily find one, but this was such a jet seed that I'm like, I want top 3, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Stopped by Topher, or stopped after Mirage and Sky. I went to get promoted for better armor, and I don't know exactly the mechanics, but given the margin of victory, getting that White Mage knocked out in Tiamat, I think, and having the Black Mage there to help, it's like, well, I fasted the fighter, and that's all. It's whole day to win. So I just stood there helplessly, and like the health was whittling down, and like, I don't think this is gonna work, but got incredibly lucky and pulled that one out.
We were all watching that as well, GDD. We had our seats, but we were only using the edge. That was a truly magnificent fight. I think your knight managed to scrape by with, double-digit HP.
At 26 hit points at the end, I think.
Oh, hey, well done.
And with that, we also have Elastoid in the chat with us. GG, Elastoid. Congrats on 4th place.
I mean, given what happened with Warmech and his ability to cast Stop through Ribbon, that it don't feel as good as it could. It's good to be done.
Yeah, those ribbons are invaluable, except when they're not. But still, GG Elastoid, you had some great plays there. You were flying through the early part of this seed. I think all of us in the commentating booth and in chat were just mouths agape at how quickly you were achieving things. Was that your strategy, to gather a lot of information and just plow through the early game and then hunker down and consolidate resources in the mid game?
Yeah, it was like sort of a last-minute decision, and I think a bad one in retrospect to grind the Agamas. On that, I always wanted to go to, like, I knew if I could find early Oxy, I was going to go to Sea Shrine first, because it's got so many chests, and because P there is so good. So I think I wound up going in that direction at, like, level 8 or something. Something stupid like that, but it worked out.
That sounds like about the level that I went into Sea Shrine.
I'm sorry?
Yep.
I went into Sea Shrine something like level 8.
Yeah, you guys were digging Sea Shrine at the same time.
Awesome.
Yeah, you two had very similar routing. We had a lot of high-fiving going on as you guys were digging waterfall and then digging mermaids and then digging through Kraken's floors.
Yeah, it was a full-on frat party every time you two were in a dungeon for about the first 40 minutes of the game. It was a real treat to watch and just kind of see the strategies diverge, and then just see what luck has in store. Whether it's a 3 out of 256 ribbon fail or just who checks what chest.
That's awesome. I look forward to watching that. I can't wait. This was a really great race.
Did anyone else do the volcano early?
I was coming to ask you,
yeah.
GDD, what made you make that decision?
Oh, well, it was just the nearest place and there was an incentive item, but I went ahead and did the armory and the early chests and went out and hedged my bets and saved. I'm like, I don't think I'll be able to clear the rest of this, and as I was digging down to the bottom, it seemed like a very bad idea, but I had just enough to scrape by carry, so it wasn't wasted time.
Wow, I forgot about that. You had 2 brushes with death, because that carry 1 fight got down to the nitty-gritty. I think you were down to 2 light warriors well before you managed to quad X your way out of that situation.
Yeah, my fighter wasn't dealing any damage, so I was hoping the black mage would be able to whittle them down enough to use a quad X on them. I think it took all the black spells to do that.
All 4 players on stream right now. We've got SVJ on Chaos, Soul Takers on Tiamat, Leggy Starscream's on Tiamat, Spider MBI's on Kraken. We got a big race here. I think it's 5th place coming up, guys.
Yeah, there's a heavily contested 5th place with all of our runners managing to converge at the same time.
Yeah, and we saw initially with Tarnin, Tarnin just blew through Kraken 2 and Tiamat 2, but not all of these runners have had that same luck. We've seen wipes, we've seen struggles, we've seen delays. So those fiends a little bit tougher than we had initially thought as St. Von Jester pulls Chaos.
What level were other people going into Topher at?
I was massively overruled. I was like 28 or some stupid thing.
Okay.
I think I was 25 or 26, around there.
Okay, that's about the level I was as well, was 25.
Forgetting about the incentive items adding to the XP, so I grind the Agamas, and then all of a sudden I start making more XP later. I'm like, oh man, what did I do?
St. Von Jester, seeing Chaos throw around all the fire spells a little bit more, throws out an A-Rub. That might be the first time in my FFR history that I've seen that spell used. It's valuable. You don't want to get rubbed by Chaos, that's for sure. But, he's throwing out Tempers. Chaos throwing out a Lit 3 in this case. Got some high-level magic, but St. Von Jester's 3 ribbons. I think maybe the only runner that we saw to fully consolidate the Pretty Princess set here. Really managing to come through for the Light Warriors in this situation.
And Soul Taker has now also joined St. Von Jester on this Chaos fight. Currently buffing up, but I'm sure we'll see a nail biter here in the moment.
St. Von Jester going the Tarnin route and having that black belt punch through to Chaos as well. I was initially skeptical. Call me a believer. I've been converted. It's a full Shrek situation here.
Do not try on low-level black belts. It's not good.
Looks like Soul Taker's black belt not quite as fortunate. The Master black belt taking a little snooze here against this Chaos fight. Leggy Starscream passes up a couple of juicy rock goals to try and run and be a contender in this 3-way, hopefully, Chaos sprint.
Soul Taker just did 5 hits for over 400 damage without any crits. This Chaos is not long for the world on Soul Taker's screen.
St. Von Jester still has all... Oh!
Nuke for 212 damage. Soul Taker has defeated Chaos, 5th place of an official SRL time, 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 43 seconds.
GG. Chat, get out your GGs for Soul Taker. An impressive finish here for Soul Taker.
SVJ trying to close this out for 6th place. Leggy Starscream is on Chaos. Spider MBI is on Chaos. Look at the competition from these new players here. This is kind of the second wave here. They haven't quite graduated yet, but we got 3 of them fighting Chaos, the Ultimate Fiend, right now, Shadow. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is fantastic. We're about to see our 4th Chaos on screen since we're still get to see Chaos in his slightly faded out form on Soul Taker's screen. It's been a wonderful race and great times from all these runners. When we first started these new player races, we were seeing some people finish around the 1 hour, 40-minute mark, 2 hours, and some people finishing closer to 3 hours, even plus 3 hours on some of them. So to see all of these runners now finishing at the end of the race at the 140-minute mark, this is fantastic. Well done to all these runners.
St. Von Jester managing to take down Chaos. GG to St. Von Jester. And we see Leggy Starscream kind of going the other route here. Chaos. That's not going to work too often, is it, Shadow?
I'm sorry. What did you ask?
Oh, I just saw Leggy Starscream going for a little bit of friction, a rub play on Chaos, and it's not going to work too often, is it?
No, 3 out of 256 is not great odds, but if you have literally nothing else to do, that can sometimes work. I believe we have somebody here in the booth with us that pulled the cheeky Bane off on Chaos to take down a real titan of the community.
Yeah, it can work. It's certainly not recommended unless you're, I don't know, Bucleosis.
None of us are that lucky.
I don't know who wants to try and steal that throne. I think Leggy Starscream is just going to have to resort to rubs for the time being. As Spider MBI manages to take down Chaos.
Yeah, so we got essentially 5th place with Soul Taker, right around the 1 hour 40-minute mark. 6th place, SVJ, 1 hour 41:47. Now Spider MBI 143 in a big cluster showing all these big steps forward that these players have taken. SVJ, I think you're here with us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great time, right around an hour 40. How does this compare to your first? That's where I'm going with this. Tell us about your growth here and the shaving off of the time and how your experience is going.
The thing, I learned that I just gotta let party members die. You know, if they die, then I can just keep on going. I don't have to keep resetting all the time. Instant kill spells like Quad X and Zap and such like that, those are really helpful, especially against those 1 mobs. And if I can just keep using them on bosses, it just keeps shaving down the time. I don't have to sit there and grind out these dungeons and stuff like that. That's why I went to Provoca first. I was like, figuring maybe there's something on the pirates, and sure enough, it was the floater. So I was able to run around the map and get everything I needed.
St. Von Jester, this is Romulus is here. I'm wondering what made you decide to go over to Team Stake out of curiosity. The Team Tyro has a lot of good people. It's got a lot of good points. What swayed you ultimately?
I love steak, and everything deserves to be food if it's animals. But that's, especially in this game.
Everything deserves to be food.
Everything deserves. If you nuke it enough, anything's edible.
It's a bold pronouncement coming out from St. Von Jester here.
Soul Taker, our 5th place finisher, has joined us as well. Soul Taker, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. How you guys doing?
GG.
We're doing good. Great show. Tell us about the match tonight.
Oh, it went pretty quick. That was a pretty good overall seed. I thought it went really quick. Pretty easy overall.
Was there anything that really took you by surprise, threw you for a loop in there?
Not really. The only thing was towards the end, I was still checking a lot more chests than I wanted to because I really wanted the tail to be able to class change, but that's about it.
What were you looking for with that tail? Did you find a piece of armor, or do you generally just like to have some upgraded warriors to really make that dive into Topher feel secure?
It was just for mainly the upgraded armor, and that's pretty much it. Maybe some extra spells along the way, but that was it.
And Leggy Starscream manages to take down Chaos as well. GG's, chat. Get your GG's out for Leggy Starscream. Boy, I think that's the 250 bell. Is class over?
Also joining us, Spider MBI. Spider MBI leaps and bounds forward. MBI, I have a question. Same one that I asked SVJ just a minute ago, really. Your times. Wow. You're shaving a ton off. You're getting a lot better. How do you feel about this match, and how do you feel about how you're progressing here in all these awesome, great races?
Honestly, I feel like I could do a lot better this race. For some reason, I decided to go Earth Cave first, and I'm not quite sure why I did that, and I didn't buy any healing potions for it, so I wasted like lots of time, even though this is a good time. I'm happy that I'm improving, but I just don't think this went well this race.
Also joining us in that big batch of group within 5 minutes, a whole bunch of players finished. Leggy Starscream, can you hear us?
Hi, how y'all doing?
We're doing good. Tell us about the match. You were in this big group. We had 4 of you fighting chaos all at once, and you were one of them. It was great to watch. Tell us about the match tonight.
Well, on that last one, it really helps to use a house before diving Topher, so you have spell charges, especially for things like fast. But I'm just lucky that the fiends were being really nice today. If I had wiped on like Kraken or Tiamat after forgetting to use a house like that, I would have been upset.
Yeah,
But-
you always want to get the best night's sleep possible before you go into chaos. That's what my mom always said anyway.
Yeah, no, that's deeply fair. But other than that, I really liked this seed. I felt like I made some good decisions early, but I had some bad execution with routing that set me back a little bit. Oh well. I'm really happy with how it all went. How'd it go for everyone else?
Everybody is doing really well. It's incredibly impressive. We had just a 20-minute spread from second place all the way to 7th. This was a real close race. It was really fun to watch. Thank you, all of you.
Yeah, and Leggy,
this is great because over in our SRL room, we still got one player going here, a Tiny Fairy. A Tiny Fairy has jumped into this community just recently, has already done, they're doing the trackers and all this other sort of stuff that people like us, we just haven't gotten the time to get to, and Tiny Fairy's picked up all this slack. First match ever.
Yep.
And a Tiny Fairy right now is looking to light their 4th orb. That's a pretty impressive run so far as well. And we're going to see if we can bring in a Tiny Fairy. We're not quite sure on time constraints at this point in time. We maybe move over to host a Tiny Fairy and maybe give them some viewers and certainly some support. But I can tell you this right now, we have our SRL room open where we get all our times and we communicate certain things. And all these players here, the Spider MBI, Shadow Walker saying it right now, are encouraging a Tiny Fairy right now to kick some butt and stick with it, because we were all there once and it's their first match. So kudos certainly to a Tiny Fairy sticking this out now, not giving in. I like it.
Leggy, to go back to your comment, you mentioned something about routing. To be honest, that was something that us in the commentator booth were talking about. There were so many different key items in so many different places. I don't think we came to a consensus on routing. So that's not something I'd beat yourself up over. This seed had some interesting routing decisions, and it was an NP hard problem.
Oh, definitely, for sure. It's more just, in the heat of the moment, you make a choice, and then you always want to have that commentary track at the back of your head going like, oh, I could have done it like this and would have done better. I mean, that's the only way you improve.
By commentary track, do you just mean Wilcliosis, or?
I mean, I don't have Wilclios's voice memorized to the point where I can hear it in my own head yet.
That sounds like you need to watch more VODs.
Clearly.
Cleosis is my Morgan Freeman. I read everything in his voice.
Wow. And I think we've just generated the first Final Fantasy Randomizer bumper sticker. Thank you, Elastoid. Soul Taker, are you still with us?
Yeah, I am.
Can you let us know which of the 4 Fiend dungeons did you end up diving first? Volcano. And did you end up doing just an armory dip, or did you clear it all the way through to take out Carrie?
I did what I typically do: go in, clear armory, warp out, use a house to get all my charges back, and then just charge all the way through.
Sure. Now, with the different incentivized flags, I know that Will Cleosis asked me early on about an ice cave dive. You know, you were in that area, you had warp. Did you consider going down into ice?
No, never, not once, not without an incentivized item, not until I went and checked everything else and was, that's the last. I gotta look for something I didn't find, somewhere else.
That's a strong amount of conviction there. It sounds like you didn't even consider turning into a pillar of salt. Just one direction only.
Looks like we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here real quick pretty soon here on Randomania. We are going to go ahead and host a Tiny Fairy who is still fighting. We think a Tiny Fairy's missing the cube. Got everything else done, kind of searching around for the cube, and that happens. We've all certainly been there. I'd like to thank Neon Gray coming out, taking care of the tracking, along with the venerable Mr. Versetti, Minochi85. And Minochi is the one that made sure that all these players got in here. We were able to see this 4 battles of chaos all at the same once here at the end of the stream, and everyone gets their due. So we certainly like to thank him as well. Obviously, Randomania for hosting us, and Shadow Walker.
Yes, sir.
Rom Ulysses. Welcome to the
Present.
broadcast booth. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Take us home, fellas.
All right. Well, thank you very much. This has been a ton of fun. Congrats to all of our runners finishing with such a tight spread. I think this next league is going to be a ton of fun. Romulus, do you have any closing thoughts before we go home?
I think Shadow Walker, the only thing I'd like to point out is I'm still relatively new to this community. You're still relatively new to this community. And this is probably the best online community I've found in my decade-plus experience with such things. So if you're watching this, if you're not a part of the Discord, come find us. We're a congenial bunch. We like to laugh and have a good time and play this game a little bit. So come join us.